What's up, y'all? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a waterfall enrichment inside make.com. And what this is going to allow us to do is use different providers to find information. And so all of these different providers are going to have different databases. And so if we were looking for a work email, for example, as you could see, Prospeo didn't have the email, but LeadMagic did. And in another situation over here, neither of these providers had the email, but another provider did. And so we're essentially going to be replicating what that table does inside make.com. And so this is going to be relevant if you don't use Clay. But in my particular use case, I'm trying to build a find email extension over here, which is going to leverage this same workflow. And again, the reason why is because using all of these different providers gives us the best possible chance of finding a valid email. And then we're going to be validating all of this information with zero bounce. And by the way, another cool part about all of this, all of these different providers is that you can basically get credits for free. And if you're building a workflow like this is pretty much free. The only cost over here is the actual make workflows. Okay, so let's get started with building this. What you're going to first need is these HTTP modules. And so as you can see, this is the LeadMagic HTTP module. This is the Hunter HTTP module, which is literally just a URL with a get method. And then this is the Prospeo HTTP module. And so how we get this stuff is we just navigate to either of the platforms. And so they're all going to have like API documentation. And so in Prospeo's case, we got the API documentation for how to find an email like this. And so when we actually look at this, as you can see, it tells us that this is the URL we need. We need to make it a post, and then we need this information over here inside the request content. And so when we go into make for Prospeo, we've used that URL, we've used the request content, and we've made it a post. But it also asks us to create, to add our API key and specifically call it X key. And so this is where we find that information. So this is in the header, right? And then we find the API key within Prospeo. And then when we go into Hunter over here, it's going to ask us for the URL, and then it's going to make it get. And so where we find this information, we go back to Hunter, go to the API section, it's going to show us exactly what we need to set up. And so all of this stuff that we're doing, you can actually find it inside the documentation for each of the different providers. It's all I'm doing over here. Where the actual work is going to come into play is how these waterfalls work. So the underlying formulas. And so if we were to go into Clay, for example, something that Clay allows us to do is create underlying formulas. And so actually, this could work, right? So only run if XYZ has happened, right? So this type of stuff. That's what we're going to be doing today. But at the very beginning, like this is how you're going to find the information, right? So URL, header, and then all of the request content underneath. Okay, so what you then need is you need to have an input, so a way for you to figure out what you're looking for. And so inside make, all we've basically asked for is the full name and the website. And so where I got that information is on the extension. So I put my name over here, and then I put the website, and that's what's coming through in this webhook over here. And then the next thing, you need to call each of these different providers and then just follow the instructions on how to set them up. But something that you're going to probably want to do if you're using like a full name, for example, is use these formulas over here. And so what this is right here is a split function inside a make, which allows us to get the first split all of the variables depending on a character. And so in this particular case, we're looking for all of the spaces, right? And so we're going to split all of those up and then get the first one using this array function over here, which is called first and last, right? And so this is how we're getting the first name and the last name from the full name. Next up, we basically want to split them up in a router. And so this router is going to be the actual waterfall, and then this is going to happen after the waterfall is happened, right? And how we know this is if you actually look here, it says this router is first and then this router is second. How you can change the positioning is by simply unlinking and then relinking. So you notice how this is now second, and before it was first. Let's do it again so that you see it in action. So boom, and then it's second, right? So this is how we know that this is going to happen first and then this is going to happen second, right? Okay. And then we're using these set variables and get variables functions. And so because we're referencing data that's not sequentially being looked at, and so like for example, if we were to do zero bounce over here, we can click zero bounce and then we'll see what zero bounce gave us over here. So this is great, right? But if we were to try to see what zero bounce gave us from this position, we wouldn't be able to see it, right? And so that's why we need to set up these set variables so that we can recall the information again. So this is hunter, and so inside here, get multiple variables, this is where the hunter is going to be. And this works because we had set up the ordering like this with this linking stuff over here. And so, all right, we're on the same page now. So we've got the waterfall happening on the first line over here, and then we've got everything happening afterwards. And so now we need to set up the underlying formulas to determine when the waterfall ends. And so if you recall, Lead Magic found the email and then it stopped, and then it stopped. And so what the underlying formula is basically email does not exist. But you can actually add an end rule, for example, email does not exist and status equal to valid, right? And so if that's the case, we're not going to keep going. But if that's not the case, then we're going to keep going, right? And then we want to see if hunter has that, and then we would have the same condition for hunter. And then at the end of it, it would go to Prospio. And then after that waterfall is done, it would go to the second line, get all of the variables. And so in this particular case, it's getting the Lead Magic and LinkedIn. And then once it gets all of this information, we put it inside zero bounce. And then we want to use an if formula. And so this formula is basically looking at like if Lead Magic exists, then use the Lead Magic one. If Prospio exists, use the Prospio one, and then so on and so forth. By the way, this is how we create that if statement. So it's in the settings over here. We basically just want to do if. And so this is the condition. So if Lead Magic exists, and so if Lead Magic exists, we do that, right? And so this is going to be the true, and then this is going to be the false. And so if Lead Magic exists, simply just do Lead Magic, right? But if it doesn't exist, we can actually just do anything here. But what I've actually done before, what I've done above, is I've just done another if statement. So if Lead Magic does not exist, we then move to the next step, which is going to be hunter. So if hunter exists, then we put hunter, and then so on and so forth until we get that if formula that we've got above. Okay, so now we've got all of this information, we've got it set up. Zero bounce, we just use the zero bounce connection. You can use the API docs if you want, but you don't need to since it already exists. And that's why, by the way, we're using HTTP modules as opposed to like make modules. Okay, and then the final step is to literally just send the information over to wherever you want to send it to. And in my case, it's just the extension. All right. So let's build this now. Let's build the underlying formulas, and then let me show you how it works. So let's go with someone that Lead Magic didn't have the email. So this person over here. So no email found. We can grab the name. We can oh, actually we don't. We can put it here, and then we want the domain. So we already know Lead Magic couldn't find the email. So now this is going to be great. We're going to run into errors this time around, but it's fine. It's just for testing purposes, right? So Lead Magic does not find the email. What happens next? So it says that Lead Magic found the email. Okay, it didn't. And so this is perfect. So Lead Magic did not find the email, and so we want to set up the formula over here that data does not exist. And so this is great. And now we want to look into hunter, right? So hunter, we've got all of the same information. Okay, so now let us try again. Let's try again. We're going to run into some other errors, but it's fine. It's all the part of the testing. Boom, Lead Magic. Now it goes through. Now hunter. Oh, it found it. Why does it say Reddit? Found Reddit. It's fine. Anyways, hunter found something, right? And so we can actually just look at the data over here and then look at what it said. So it said Misty Gibson with reddit.com. Does it have any other emails? I mean, It is what it is. We've got this one over here. I can actually exclude. It said domain Reddit. Oh, okay, so we've got an issue with this, with the domain. Oh, there you go. There you go. So we found the issue. We never actually changed the header over here to being the accurate domain. And so we actually want this to be over here. Okay, there we go. So we got the issue solved. God, I did not move on from there. Okay, so we want to put Misty again, and then we want to put the website, and then we'll find the email now. And so Hunter is looking, and then we're going to see if Hunter finds anything for us. And so in this particular case, the data says it couldn't find anyone. Right? It could not find anyone. And then Hunter does not exist. Data email. So we don't. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's that the data, meaning like the email over here. So data email does not exist. Okay, so this is great. So now we go into Prospeo, but Prospeo runs into an error, and the error is because of insufficient credits. And so we just want to ignore this error over here. And so we've actually just not found the email. And so what we would be doing in this particular case is email address if at the very end of this, no email found. No email found. And then we can run it again. And then Misty website, put that there, find email, and then we look for the output over here. Oh, actually, hold on a second. Prospeo requires us to put Zero Bounce requires us to put an email. So this might actually make sense to do. Oh, actually, you know what? Because yeah, we can do no email found. We could just do an ignore error, ignore bundle validation errors. So we want to ignore these. Okay, so this is not working. So what we can actually do is we can just clone the extension over here and then just switch it over here. So now we've just got two spots where it's going to go. And so if it's an error, we just say no email found. We don't even need the if statement over here. So no email found. And then if we do find it, which is just going to be the address, we don't need an if statement since it's already taking that into account for us. So let's run it once. Let's do again over here. So Misty, put the website, find email. It's going to go through, find no email. So Misty, no email found. Okay, so this works great. Now let's try to get a valid email from somebody here. And so let's put someone where we know the email. So this person, Eamon, and then let's run it again. So this time around, we're going to find an email. And then let's see if Zero Bounce gives us the information. So it says catch all over here. But in a situation where I want to exclude something, I could just be like, yeah, if status is equal to valid, so we just put the address, and then if it's not, we want to put the address with a siren, which is basically just like, hey, this might work or it might not, but it is what it is. All right, so let's run it the last time over here. We've got the Everflow supplies with Eamon over here, and now we should be looking for that risky icon informing us that this is the email, but it could be risky, and then we just send an email. Okay, so that's how you do a waterfall enrichment. Hope this video was valuable. Cheers!